Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor, virtual tailgate here for Fan to Fan. Excited to jump in here, guys. What is going on? And I'm hoping we're live now. Fan to Fan guys will let me know if we are. We're going to get going here. NFL Week 8. We are going to start off with the latest news and notes. And of course, guys, we're going to start off with the injuries. So let's get Scott the Doc in here to start talking about it.
Yes, sir. Scott the Doc in the house. I've got a list today of major names that are going to be out. I'll try to whip through these as quick as I can. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Andy Dalton. He's out on the concussion protocol. Likely will be back next week. It's usually about 10 to 14 days to clear the protocol. Some as early as 7, but Dalton didn't make that 7-day window. So he'll be out this week. He'll be back next. Running back for the Arizona Cardinals, Kenyon Drake, had a high ankle sprain. Look for him to be out 4 to 6 weeks, possibly even short-term injured reserve list. Another running back with a high ankle sprain, Jeff Wilson from the 49ers, had a big week last week, 3 touchdowns, high ankle sprain, again, out 4 to 6 weeks. The Giants running back, Devontae Freeman, had a high ankle sprain, same thing, 4 to 6 weeks, he'll be out. And then last but not least, Packers running back, he's the one without a high ankle sprain, Aaron Jones, calf strain. Look for him just to be out about 1 to 2 weeks on that one. It's a grade 1 calf strain. Moving along to the wide receivers, Odell Beckham, ACL, those 3 letters, obviously out for the season on that one. So look for the Browns wide receivers to kind of get a little bit of a bump in points there. Eagles wide receiver, Deshaun Jackson, another high ankle sprain. Same thing, 4 to 6 weeks on him. Bucks wide receiver, Chris Godwin, had a finger fracture. He had surgery on that. So his return to play, likely around week 9 to 11. Look for it to be closer to week 10 or 11, though. And then finally, wide receiver from the Patriots, who has been on the injury list all season, but finally makes his appearance on the IR list, Julian Edelman. He had a knee injury. He's going to go in and get that scoped. Minimum of 3 weeks. He'll return likely closer to 4 weeks. Tight end for the Chargers, Virgil Green, a possible fracture suffered last week. He'll be out this week. And then last but not least, a weird one from the Browns, Austin Hooper, the tight end, appendicitis. He had his appendix removed. So he'll be back probably week 10 after their bye week.
Wow. All right. So I got to ask you here real quick, Scott. I'm going to throw you on the spot here, but is there anyone that you're concerned about starting? Oh, they get the green light to go, but they may be limited or they're a little premature. For example, Dalvin Cook, obviously he's got the hamstring or the groin. Is there a chance he comes in and then boom, limited in reps? Can anyone screw you hard this week in regards to fantasy?
Yeah, I think you're right on there with Dalvin Cook. I think that's one that could possibly go. He's a game time decision. I would avoid the heck out of him, though. I think they're going to ride Madison for at least 1 more week until Cook is fully returned. I don't think it's even worth coming back at this point. But if he does, I would definitely keep him on the bench for another week.
Yeah, they're saying he's good to go, but sometimes I don't believe everything that the coaches tell me. We've seen this happen before, so we don't want to get screwed. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate you as always, man. Appreciate you coming on. All right. Thank you, man. Latest news and notes. Matt, do you want to jump on here? Are you here?
Hey, Joe. What's going on? Good morning.
Good morning. Anything we need to be concerned about in the latest news and notes? Any arrests, any injuries, any heartbreaks, anything catastrophic that may affect fantasy and reality for our teams this week?
Arrests was a very interesting one that you leaned on there. Yeah, but before I get into everything, I want to kind of explain where I get all my information from. So I don't just sit up here and blow smoke and talk about hunches that I have or what I hope that would happen. Everything that I talk about is backed by insiders and beat writers for all of these teams. So, I'm not trying to, I'm not up here making stuff up. So with that said, I do have some stuff to get to. So on a positive front, there was no positive cases coming out of the latest round of league-wide COVID testing. So all of the week 8 games are on as scheduled. As the NFL inches closer to the trade deadline, we are going to see some possible names pop up in social media and see if they're dealt or not. Firstly, it's interesting to note that the Cleveland Browns may trade Odell Beckham in the offseason. That relationship between him and Baker Mayfield hasn't worked out on the field as much would like. It is going to be Rashad Higgins that is going to be in his place. And it's quite interesting to see how everybody is saying that the Browns are going to, quote, do better without him, that Mayfield doesn't have to force the ball to Beckham and kind of air it out to Jarvis Landry and his other targets. Other possible moves that I'm watching could be Matt Ryan and Julio Jones shipped out of Atlanta. Very possible that they had played their last primetime game together against the Panthers. Another interesting one I'm following is Stephon Gilmore with the New England Patriots. As that team kind of goes through a reloading phase, it'd be quite possible that he is dealt. He is also out against the Buffalo Bills today. Will Fuller has been connected in a move with the Packers, and there are some beliefs that Dwayne Haskins could be dealt out of Washington if the price is right. There has been some speculation on the Michael Thomas, New Orleans Saints relationship, but all reports have indicated that he will not be traded. Another one that I'm kind of personally following, and this one's kind of wishful thinking, I could see a scenario in which Ryan Fitzpatrick is dealt to the Dallas Cowboys, depending on how Tua Tagovailoa and Ben DiNucci do in Dallas today.
Ben DiCucci. I call him the Coochie. That's what his name is. Is it not? Is it not the Coochie?
It's DiNucci.
DiNucci. Who is this bottom feeder guy? He comes out of nowhere, and maybe Jordan will stick up for him here, but I hear this Coochie guy coming on. I'm like, man, it must be tough times for those Dallas Cowboys, man.
I try to be well-rounded on everything, but man, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, first Dak Prescott goes down, and then Andy Dalton gets absolutely blown up there. So, I mean, the Cowboys are in an interesting spot already. So it's going to be an interesting game to watch, and I don't know if it's going to be for the good or the bad.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly, that's for sure. They lost to Washington last week. I don't know. I've kind of lost hope for the Dallas, which is a shame because there's so much talent on that team. Guys like Zeke, guys like Cooper, but that's a whole other topic. We'll have to talk to our Cowboys guy about that. Yeah,
they are loaded. I mean, it's kind of every single year we kind of see this happen with the Cowboys, but I mean, this year is a little more drastic than the rest.
They're going to have to make some improvements, especially defensively next year, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt, thanks a lot. You guys catch him during the week. Subscribe to the channel. He does a preview show for us every week. All right, we got to move on here. So I know the matchup's already happened, and I hate to be wearing the red hat here. Where are you, Big Cat? I'm wearing the red here to rub it in. Where are the feathers in your mouth this week?
Man, depression is real, man. Listen, man, this team is young. They're hungry, athletic. There's no doubt about that, but focus and consistent, just two words that don't go with this team right now. But you know what? We got some good things going for us. You know what I mean? I think Matt Rule is the right coach. Jeremy Chin is a stud. Obviously, he was the defensive rookie of the month. If you guys don't know Jeremy Chin by now, I don't know where you've been. Brian Burns, Florida State, been doing this thing. Derek Brown, he's coming along. And I don't know, man. We're just not focused. And that comes with a young team, and that comes with an inexperienced team. So I would like to get up here and rah-rah you guys today, but when you go out there and you put out that kind of performance, there's nothing to rah about. 3-5 through 8 games. Kansas City coming up next week.
Oh, yeah. Lord.
You're keeping it real, Big Cat. Keeping it real. And again,
I got to take the hat off. I got to take the hat off, man.
Just this week. Maybe for a couple weeks. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming. Hopefully bring a little more energy next week against Ryan. Poor Ryan. He's going to have to hear it next week. We're going to need the energy, man, if you guys are going to win. So
I'm going to go jack off and cry.
All right, man. We'll let you go. We'll let you go to get the Vaseline now. We're going to take off then. All right, he's gone. All right, let's move on here to Chisel the Adonis. Speaking of jacking off, isn't Big Ben playing today? Where are you, Chisel?
Oh, yeah. He's definitely playing today. We just got to make sure he's not doing what Big Cat's doing.
So what's going on? I'm excited about this matchup, man. Steelers are actually, believe it or not, the underdog here against the Ravens. Is Joe here? Joe's here, isn't he?
I'm here, baby. Let's go.
Guys, I'll let you guys battle it up because I don't know who's going to win this one, but I'm going to lean towards the Steelers. I'm taking the 4 points on the spread.
Well, I'll say this much. It's rightfully so why they would have Baltimore, favored, because given that they only got shellacked against Kansas City, but outside of that, they've had very stellar performances thus far this season. And you got to think about the pickups that they've done that they've picked up from the market in free agency, or have made some, trades as well. So it makes sense why you'd want to pick them up. And Pittsburgh playing terrible in the second half last week against Tennessee. But let me tell you something. It's not going to go down like that because Pittsburgh's going to move on to 7-0. All right, they're going to take care of business. They've given Lamar Jackson the worst game of his career. All right, and then on top of that, the Ravens don't throw the ball extremely well, and let alone do if they want to. Period. And they're a team that plays when they have the lead. And Pittsburgh shuts down the run, the best in the league this year. So I expect them to come out there, shut down the run, at least attempt to. They're going to give it a shot. And then from that point, they can force Lamar to throw, and I'm pretty sure we can pick him off all day.
Yeah, it seems like Pittsburgh's actually healthy now, so I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this matchup. Joe, what do you got to say about this one, man? I think it's a big test for the Ravens. This week they're going to be tested. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a test for both teams, actually. And I think what a lot of people are focusing on here is our offense versus the Steelers defense. And I get it. It's TJ Watt. It's all those big boys over there. But what people are not looking at is our defense versus large Benjamin Roethlisberger, as I call him, because we got Yannick Ngakoue coming for him. We got Calais Campbell coming for him. We got Matthew Judon. We got Derek Wolfe. We got the D-line to give Ben. Ben has not been uncomfortable at all this season. He's only been sacked 8 times. That's going to change. And I just want to say, let him throw 3 picks against this Ravens defense and see what happens. No. But seriously, I'm not expecting our offense to come out and ball out. I think it's going to be a defensive battle straight up. I think it's going to be like a 23-20 type of football game. This is going to be an AFC North war. And I expect for the crown to still be on the Ravens' head because we have been AFC North champs for the past 2 seasons. And that is not changing this year. I don't care what the Steelers have done, baby. We're getting this W today.
Well, I see you mentioned the crown. I'm happy you said that because last week we dethroned, King Henry. So we're coming after, people who happen to sit on the throne back-to-back weeks. And I'm hoping that we're going to go out there and take care of business. And you mentioned something about, getting after the quarterback because there's no denying, Baltimore's pass rush. They're top 5 in the league, if I'm not mistaken, 22 sacks. But then who sits at the top of getting after the quarterback? That just so happens to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I expect this, and you're giving both offenses much more credit than I would because you're saying 23-20. I think there's going to be an old school, back to 2008 Pittsburgh-Baltimore battles. I don't think we're going to see any points in the 20s. I think this is going to be maybe a 15-12 game, 18-15 game, 17-14 kind of game. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be dirty. If you're not if you're not one of those people who love, old school football, please change the channel. All right, because it's going to be a hell of a game. I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
It's a war. It's
a war built on respect. That's why there's not a single team that I respect more in the league than Baltimore. And I'm sure you feel the same because it's a hell of a battle.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for being here. We got to move on here to the Colts and the Lions. I'm going to be covering the Colts. And where are you, Pat Mahomes, a.k.a. Troy?
Woo, man. Hey, what's up, Joe? How's it going, man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about this game. The Colts have to make a statement, but I will tell you, we've got a weapon back. Michael Pittman is back, and he was a second-round pick for us, so I think it's going to be a good game. And I don't know, man. I mean, 4-2 versus 3-3. I just hate Rivers. I'm kind of turned off of the offense because I hate Rivers. I don't like the guy. You might as well bring in Jacoby Brissett at this point. He's squeaking wins out, and I think it's going to be tough, and I think Detroit plays tough. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, man. Hey, well, first I just want to give a shout out to all the one pride in the chat. Hey, they're coming out now. They're excited. We got back-to-back wins. No, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a really good game. I know Philip Rivers, he's basically averaging a pick a game. And that stingy defense they have in Indianapolis, they haven't faced an offense like this. They haven't faced a quarterback like this. We got the comeback king 30 times, Joe. 30 times, Joe. Oh, man, just a great week last week. So I think this is going to be great, though. I love the matchup on paper. I think it's going to be super competitive. And, hey, I mean, if we can win this game, Joe, I'm just saying we might have to rat off like 5-6 in a row.
Well, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Detroit because you had the nice comeback the week they played. Was it last week or the week before? I'm losing track here. Last week.
Last week.
Yeah. So it was an amazing comeback. Stafford showing he can get it done. Galladay looking like he's clutch. And then you've got Swift who's kind of stepping up in that offense. And I like that they're using him more. Is it still going to be more Peterson or are we still going to see more Swift now? Is it now the Swift show coming out?
Man, hey, everybody wants to see the Swift show. I mean, shoot, it's hard. They just keep giving it to Peterson. I like him. I like him for short downs, but I think it's got to be more of the Swift show as the season goes on. And they need to pay Kenny G, man. Kenny G needs to get paid. You said he was the best receiver this offseason, I think, Joe. And I mean, he's out there doing his thing. So this dude needs to get paid, but I think Swift's got to get more involved.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the comments here from my friends here that messaged me. He says that Gurley gave you that last win. So I don't know. I would say Gurley gave you that by getting that touchdown.
He gave us an opportunity, but 1 minute, no timeouts. There's only one guy I know that's going to do that 2 times. There's only one guy I know.
It's so funny, that game, because I ripped into Gurley like last year when he didn't stop. Like, he stopped. This year he went in, so I praise Gurley now. So it's kind of funny. Karma's a bitch to him because, you know, he tried to screw fantasy owners last year, or a couple years ago, I think it was, and then this year, you know, he got screwed. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this game. What's your score prediction on this, Troy?
Yeah, I think this is going to be super competitive. I got the Lions pulling up the win. I think we get 3 straight. We roll through Thanksgiving. I got 26-23.
Wow. You know, I'm not really sold on the Colts. They're a 3-point favorite. I think the Lions could pull off and win this by a field goal. Not exactly sure what the score is going to be. Somewhere around 21-17, something like that. I don't see it being a huge high-scoring game. I think defensively the Colts neutralize a little bit, but I think the Lions get enough to win this game. But I don't know if Michael Pittman is going to be a breakout game because we don't know who Rivers gravitates to. It's usually tight ends. It's going to be a good one either way. So, all right, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, man.
Let's go with the Vikings and the Packers. I don't think our Packers rep's on, but why doesn't William cover the Vikings for us?
Hey, man, it's been an interesting 2 weeks with all the trade rumors. Not sure the Vikings will move. Maybe Anthony Harris, maybe Riley Reif, depending on what happens with other teams today. I think for Viking fans, it's all about the rebuild now. It's about tanking for, honestly, one of the top 2 quarterbacks. But looking at today's game, I mean, the Vikings secondary is going to be really young today. Couldn't think it could get much younger, but with injuries and Hughes moving to IR, Packers are at home. It's going to be the Packers are going to put up points. The question is, will the Vikings be able to put up points? But as a Viking fan, I'm going to tell you, most of us are rooting for the Packers. Go, Pack, go. If we lose today, we could move into the 3rd slot in the draft, and that would get us one of the top 2 quarterbacks. And in all honesty, that's what this is about right now.
Is Dalvin Cook going to play a healthy game? What do you think, honestly?
I don't think so. I think look, Zim is an old school coach, right? He doesn't like talking to the press, doesn't like giving away information. All the way through what was preseason / training camp, Daniel Hunter had a tweak to his neck. Now he had to have surgery and he's out for the year. So I don't think they're going to play Cook today. I think the writing's clear on the wall that the Vikings understand the situation that they're in. And why would you risk him long-term? You just signed him. Why would you risk him to a long-term injury when he's not 100%? Go out there and see what they got and keep playing the young guys.
Yeah, I heard he's good to go, but again, they may not be divulging all that information to us for sure. So he might even come up for one snap and realize I'm just not good to go. You know, it's hard to trust him this week.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we saw Madison last week, or 2 weeks ago. He seems to be hotter when he comes off the bench than when he does starting a game. And so we'll see how it goes today. I mean, it shouldn't be close, but then everybody thought the Seahawks were going to kill us. If it wasn't for Madison taking the wrong hole, the Vikings probably win that game in Seattle. So we'll see.
Are we going to see some Mike Boone today if Cook sits out a bit?
Change of pace. I mean, it depends. Like if the Packers get up 21-0 or 21-7 and you have to go to a more passing attack, I think you could see Boone playing a little more today. I'd be hesitant to play a Viking running back today in fantasy, but I think you go with the wide receivers. You go with Thielen. You go with Jefferson. I think Irv Smith is a good play today because I think they're going to make a move to the younger guys.
And talking about the Packers, I'm just going to touch on them real quickly here. It depends on which Aaron Rodgers you're going to get. And again, I've talked about this many times. If it's a red-hot Aaron Rodgers, he gets into a rhythm, Minnesota's in trouble. If he starts getting down early, he has to come back, I find his physiology decreases. He's not trying. He's making crazy plays. I don't know if I trust Aaron Rodgers. Coming off a hot week last week, I think he's going to do well. 6-point favorite. I think the Vikings keep it tighter than we think here. They are desperate. 1-5 versus 5-1. They're a desperate team. I think they're going to be fighting this week. Divisional.
Yeah. I mean, it's a division game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do we see division games get played closer than the spread or what the records show? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is 31-21 with the game close at the end.
All right, William, thanks for being on, man. We appreciate you as always. We're going to move on here. We'll let our ambassadors take over here. We got the Bills and the Patriots. This is going to be an entertaining one for sure. And why don't we start off with our Bills rep? Where's Dan? Dan the man. Dan Mitchell. Tell us about the Bills.
What is going on, Joe? What is going on? Honestly, the way that I look at this game is this kid that's been bullied for 20 straight years, right? Legitimately. But finally, one summer, he got And so he takes off, he hits his growth spurt, he throws on some muscle, he comes back, and then he beats the shit out of that bull.
Wow, that's a good story. I like it. So we're talking about the Bills being bullied for years.
Yeah. This is basically a revenge game, man. It really is. It really, really is. I mean, in all honesty, I still have a lot of respect for Bill Belichick. I'm still afraid of what he's going to be able to go ahead and put together. But really, at the end of the day, we're not going to be seeing Gilmore. They have a lot of people that are out, including Julian Edelman. You combine that with a struggling quarterback. I mean, on paper, there's no reason the Bills should lose this game because we are just a better team now as far as availability is concerned. The one thing that is really concerning me is the fact that Buffalo today is supposed to be pouring rain all day with 45 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts. So unfortunately, if anyone was looking forward to an air raid attack from Josh Allen, that this is not going to be the game to watch. It's going to be a lot of pounding the rock, a lot.
But you got to understand here, and I want Colby to chime in on this. You got to understand that Cam Newton's going to be angry this game. This is a comeback game after his terrible performance last time he was out. Colby, what do you think? I mean, the weather isn't going to help him, but what are your expectations for the Patriots and Cam Newton?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, like you said, this is going to be a game where, look, Cam Newton, he has to prove himself. A few weeks ago, we were talking about contract extension. Now we're talking about, okay, should the Patriots just kind of start to look at other options this offseason? I'm already looking at possible free agents. I'm looking at potential draft. But Cam Newton knows. He even said that he was telling himself, you cannot lose here. You have to do better. Now, the sad part is that, like he said, Edelman out, N'Keal Harry out. Those are 2 out of your top 3 wide receivers out. Pretty much every single receiver here went undrafted. So, look, the New England Patriots are not sitting at a point where they're getting much better, you know? You're not giving Cam Newton this help. You know, I think that is the big thing in this situation. And they got to do better. That's the big thing. They got to do better.
We're losing your connection. We lost your video, but we can still hear you, so it's all good. So can I get a final prediction score for you there, Colby?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. Well, Dan, why don't you give us your prediction while he's figuring that out?
There we go.
Oh, there he's back.
Damn.
He's back. What's going on?
You know what? I'll give this part to Dan. Dan, why don't I give you?
Yeah, man.
I'll be nice here. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, for sure, man. I see it being an unfun game to watch. Like, not a lot of theatrics by any means. I think that we're going to see a final score of 17-13 Bills.
Okay. All right. What about you, Colby?
I am going to roll with 17-20. Look, like Dan said, there is no reason that the Bills should not win this game. I think that even on the New England Patriots side, this is a game that if you are looking at the season in an aspect of, okay, we still need to win, we still have a chance or whatnot, I don't personally care at this point. I don't see it. I'm kind of on the end with Big Cat. Let's roll with 2021 at this point. But if that's how Belichick sees it, you must win this game. You lose this game, you're done. Move on. There's nothing else here for you. So, hey, you know, I think this is going to be a close game either way. And if you look at the Bills, they almost lost to the Jets. They held them to field goals. So I'm really not all that worried. But at the same time, maybe it's time to just rebuild for 2021.
It's such a big statement game here because, again, Belichick, I can't imagine him going 2-5. Okay, yeah. I can't imagine the Bills losing to the Patriots when they're crippled, they're hurt right now, and they're wounded. It's a bully game. It's time to redeem themselves. So there's a lot here, kind of more for it's a statement game. Cam Newton, right? How's he going to do? I'm excited to see just what happens on the outcome basis, more or less. Don't you guys agree?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, thank you for being here. Dan, Colby, appreciate you guys always. Have a great day. Enjoy this 1 o'clock game. I certainly won't be watching. I'll be watching the Steelers and the Ravens. So I'm going to be honest with you. All right, where is Mike? Or Mark, sorry, where's Mark?
Right here, Joe, right here. What's going on?
Good, man. And we're going to get JT. I don't know if JT's in the house. Are you here, JT?
Yo, man, what's up?
Why don't you give us a breakdown on the Bengals here, man? And you guys play tough. I know you're 1-5, but I think you're better than advertised, man. Burrow's good. Higgins stepping up. I know Mixon's out. What are your thoughts on this game, JT? Break it down, please.
Well, I think this is a game that Cincinnati has a better chance of winning than what a lot of people give them credit for. I know Titans Overload is probably going to be upset with that, but here's the thing. Tennessee can't get off the field on third down. And I mean, like we saw against Pittsburgh, the majority of that game, Tennessee lost because their defense couldn't get off the field on third down. That is a big reason for why teams could lose games. And I'm looking at a Tennessee team that is kind of underperforming. You got Clowney, you have Harold Landry there. Like, you should be a lot better getting pressure on the quarterback than what you have been so far. And the secondary hasn't really been all that good as advertised as well. I know they had a couple of injuries. So, I mean, I'm not saying Cincinnati's going to win, but I do think that there is the possibility for upset there. When you look at how Joe Burrow has been playing, him and A.J. Green kind of have a connection going there. My only biggest concern, like it is every single week, is how is Cincinnati going to face against a pretty good defensive line for Tennessee, which gave Pittsburgh a lot of the problems in the second half of that game. So Joe Mixon, he's out once again for the second straight week in a row. So it's going to be the Giovanni Bernard show. So I'll still take Tennessee to win. I think Tennessee probably wins this one. 34-24 is my final score prediction in this game.
Thanks, JT. Mark, what do you think, man?
Well, the good news is for our third down, he is right about our third down. It's horrible. But I will say this, 40-mile-an-hour winds supposedly today in Cincinnati. So that could be an X factor. That could help our secondary out, actually. Could hurt Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, obviously, but we got Derrick Henry, so we're going to roll with him. The key thing on injuries, Cincinnati has their left tackle out, right tackle out, center out. The center they got traded, he can't play because of the COVID protocols. I don't know to you, but looks like Clowney and Landry should be able to get going, and that seems to be the big issue in Tennessee. We had 3 pass rushers that dressed last week. So Beasley's playing too many minutes. Clowney's getting exhausted. Landry's getting exhausted. That's a mess. I don't know why that can't be fixed. We got some backups, but they just won't dress them. So we'll have to see what happens. But I think the Tennessee Titans will rebound nicely this week, and the weather, I think, is going to help us out.
Henry should run all over him, right?
I think that a lot of people have to well, I know Cincinnati has a couple of guys out on the offensive line, but let's be honest. Those backups, they're not going to be any worse than the starters. Bobby Hart sucks. He's the worst offensive tackle in the NFL. So, I mean, the offensive line is still going to be bad, but, I mean, it can't be no worse what we've been seeing all season, man. The backups aren't really all that, far off from the starters. It's terrible there.
Well,
yeah, and I don't know why the Titans didn't make a trade this week. Seattle made a trade. Griffin went on. He's gone. I think the Lions, picked him up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was the Lions. The Titans are definitely hurting a pass rush. I know they put a lot of money into Beasley and Clowney, but what scares me as a Titans fan this week is for us to kind of get back, get a few sacks, and then we're feeling good about ourselves. But then again, we're going against the Cincinnati Bengal offensive line. I hope it's not fool's gold. I guess that's my biggest issue.
I think my last closing statement is going to be that Tennessee is going to be running the ball with Derrick Henry all day because Cincinnati Bengals have the worst linebacking crop in the NFL. So this could be a day that, with the conditions that we could see Derrick Henry get like 30 carries. And I wouldn't be surprised if he almost breaks the NFL rushing record for most rushing yards in the game with how bad this Cincinnati Bengals linebacking core is. So like I said, Cincinnati, they may put up a little bit of points, but I do think Tennessee's pass rush can get it going because, I mean, you got the talent. It's just the matter of, who gets it going. So, I mean, Joe Burrow, he may be eating turf a lot this game.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Mark, good luck, man. I honestly think Henry's going to run wild today. So I'm going to start him in all my DFS lineups. It's going to be a big game.
Hope you're right, Joe.
I hope so, too. All right, guys, appreciate you as always. Let's move on to the Browns. We're going to get Zach coming in here talking about the Browns. I'll cover the Raiders here real quickly. Quick matchup here. Browns 1.5-point favorite. Zach, what are your thoughts on the Browns? I think this is going to be a good matchup.
I think this is going to be a good matchup as well. It'll definitely be the line's 1.5-point favorite for the Browns. I don't necessarily know if I think the Browns can pull this game off because I think the Raiders are a better team than the record shows. They've also been a great team on third downs this year on offense. They're converting at over 50%, which is amazing for them. But the key thing is how's Baker going to be without Odell? A lot of people think he's going to look way better like he did at the end of the game where he's not forcing it to Odell and he can just go through his progressions.
Good point.
And I think that could be key. If he can do that and he can be productive that way, the Browns could easily win this game. But I think it's going to be a very close game. I think the Browns probably will win by 3. With Baker making a big play to set up the game-winning field goal.
Well, I think that we have a desperate Raiders team here that needs to win. Carr obviously still have to cement his legacy because he's just been mediocre throughout the years. We see Aguilar, we see wide receivers stepping up. Jacobs mediocre last time they played. Hopefully Jacob steps up in this offense, but I'm not seeing anything that excites me about the Raiders. I think Waller's got to get involved a little bit more here in this offense for them to pull out a win here. So, yeah, I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think the Raiders have more to lose here. And again, Cleveland being banged up. Any update on Nick Chubb and when he's coming back?
He's not ready yet, but he will be back soon, maybe in a couple weeks. But until then, Kareem Hunt he's a good backup. He's great. He's a great backup, to be honest. He's still a capable starter, and I don't think they're really missing too much without Chubb. Obviously, he's better in between the tackles, and he's a better running back, and that's why he's starting.
Right.
But the drop-off between Chubb and Hunt is lower than it could be for a lot of other teams missing their starting running back.
I agree. So final score on this one, what do you think? I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. I don't see it being a low 14-9-point game.
Both defenses have been horrible, allowing over 30 points a game, I think it is. So I think that it'll probably be like a 34-31 game for the Browns, maybe.
Right. All right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm similar in regards to what you said, but I think the Raiders take it by a field goal. That's my prediction there. But again, I think Raiders are more of the desperate team here. That's kind of why I'm saying that. So thanks a lot, Zach. We appreciate you. Let's move on to the Slaughter Fest. The Slaughter Fest. Who do we start? Why don't we start with Ryan? I mean, 19.5-point favorite. Chiefs?
I don't know what to tell you. It's one of those things. I will tell you this, though. I don't expect it to be quite that bad. I have it as a 17-point or 18-point game. But right now in Kansas City, it's mid-40s, and the wind is coming up. It's going to be 12 to 15 miles an hour steady, gusts up to 25 to 27. I don't think that helps Pat Mahomes necessarily. I certainly don't think it helps Sam Darnold, although I'd like to see that happen.
Where are you, Ian? I feel bad for you. How come I always feel bad every time Ian comes up on the screen? I don't know what it is.
Right, man, because it's, we're the worst team in the league, and that's obvious. And you know what's sad? You know what's really sad, Joe, is, when you said Slaughterfest, I knew you were about to talk about the Jets. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a long day. I mean, let's be honest. Let's not sugarcoat anything. The Jets are horrible. We're in play for the number 1 overall pick. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. Sam Darnold just does not have the arm to get it done. He's shown time and time and time again that the mechanics are totally inconsistent, that he doesn't elevate the team, turns the football over on a consistent basis, and you just don't know what you're going to get with him. I mean, this is back-to-back years now where the Jets offense is 32. It's a complete joke. So, I mean, it's one of those classic games where it's the worst team in the league going up against the best team in the league. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we don't lose by, the spread, but I do agree with Ryan. I don't necessarily think it's going to be this all-time blowout, because just like normally, like on paper, people tend to feel that way, but never really, pans out that way. But I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but definitely not expecting an upset if that's what you were hoping for.
This is a crazy question here, but if there's any chance you guys beat the Chiefs, how would you do it? I mean, you've got some young spots. You got Mims, you got P. Ryan, you got some bright spots. How would they beat the Chiefs? Like, there's got to be a game plan. I mean, you can't just go in there to set, I'm going to lose. How would they beat them if they were going to? Hypothetical.
So, I mean, if I was the New York Jets and I was, game planning essentially, and, this was a meaningful game, I think I would be going into it with the mindset of trying to confuse Patrick Mahomes and keep him in the pocket. I feel like one of the main reasons on why Mahomes has a ton of success is just his ability to extend the play, turning a 3 to 4 second play into a 6, 7, 8 second play for guys like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins to get open. Now, I know Watkins isn't playing today, but, I feel like if the Jets on the defensive side just try to speed up the play and try to get the ball out of Mahomes' hands quickly,
right? Hopefully
they could set him up in the third long situations, as opposed to, just Mahomes just running around all over the field, just, hucking the ball as far as he can, and Tyreek Hill just running underneath it. So that's kind of the mindset going in.
What's your final score on this, Ian?
Man, you're killing me. I'm going to go Kansas City 42, New York Jets 20.
Okay. How about Ryan? What are your thoughts on this one? I mean, is there even a point to bring Pat Mahomes out today?
That's a serious question, but going back to your other one, if you have to have a plan to try to beat them, one of the things is to stop Pat Mahomes, right? And so the thing that's concerning to me is that we know what the DC in New York likes to do. We know how that team plays. So the only hope that you really have is to try to hurt Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
If you see that happen, I am a bit concerned about it, to tell you the truth. But if you see that happen and you get to Chad Henne, you're going to be able to slow them down a little bit. The problem is you still have to score. And I don't see that ability outside of a couple of trick plays. And you have to remember, too, that they have some young guys. I like Mims. I think the Chiefs corner is a little bit susceptible to the high ball. If they can get to the point where Sam's just chucking it up there, Mims has the ability to go up over the top of the Chiefs DBs and try to take it away. That's a 50-50 ball every time, but at least that's a concept of what you can try to do. Otherwise, you have to try to get some kind of tight end running back situation on the linebackers in coverage. That is the weak point of the pass coverage.
Are we going to see some more Le'Veon? Sorry, go ahead, Ian. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add on. I was just going to add on to Ryan's point. I mean, I don't feel like this is going to be a game where the Jets should try to control the clock or run the ball or anything like that. I feel like it's full desperation mode. We need to see some fake punts. We need to see all the tricks out of Adam Gase's bag. Obviously, he won't be back next season with the Jets, and
we don't know that.
We
don't know that. He might be there.
It is the Jets. So you're right. We don't know that, but I mean, any person with a brain, any person that just has a logical mind about football, cannot justify bringing Adam Gase back. He's just been an embarrassment. I mean, pretty much his entire Jets tenure. But yeah, almost kind of just going to the game with just have kind of a paradigm shift and just have the idea of, a constant 2-minute drill where it's just put the pressure on the Chiefs defense. But I mean, it's going to be a tough one. Let's not kid ourselves.
All right. To wrap this up, Brian, are we going to see some more Le'Veon Bell today?
Oh, you think maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot early. They don't want to get too far out of whack. This isn't like just hand it to him. And quite frankly, I'm not sure how much Le'Veon's going to hold a grudge. It really depends on his attitude. If he's just happy to be out of there and sitting around feeling groovy, then and maybe it's not that fire that they need.
Right.
They do want to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire still some touches. So I don't think it's going to be all Le'Veon all day long, but you'll see him quite a bit.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you very much for being on, guys. Ian, Ryan, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
have a good one.
Thanks. All right, move on to where's our shades, guys? They're wearing the shades today. Trent, the Rams.
Yeah, no shades today.
Oh, wow.
Even though we're playing in Miami. No shades today.
You're in Miami finally. I don't know. You should be in Miami right now. What are you still doing in the Rams? They're not even playing in LA today.
Yeah, but nothing beats the vibe of SoFi.
Listen, Doug's not in today. He had a family emergency or a situation there, so he couldn't make it. So it's all you, man. You guys are the 3.5-point favorite. You're playing Miami, and it's the Tua premiere. So are you at all concerned about Tua?
Hey, unlike Bumblebee Tuna, this game will not be Dolphin safe.
Right.
I'm just going to say that right now. Okay? Listen, I respect the Dolphins. Dolphins are very intelligent mammals. Okay? So I really don't have anything against the Dolphins.
Hold on. I heard they're the only mammal that has sex for pleasure, too.
See, I mean, that's what we're dealing with here today. I mean, it's Florida, right? So
yeah.
I don't take anything for granted with the Dolphins. I think they're a very well-run organization. Brian Flores was one of the architects of the defense that shut the Rams down in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The players play hard, and I think Tua is an intelligent football player, but he's a rookie playing in his first game against the Rams defense,
right?
Which is a top 5 defense in the NFL. They give up the second fewest points per game this year.
Right.
They've allowed the defense has allowed only 26 points in the second half of all games combined this year. So if the Rams have a lead going into the second half, you can pretty much kiss this baby goodbye for Miami. Also, the right side of Miami's offensive line, they're starting 2 rookies, and neither of them are their first-round pick, Austin Jackson. And the right side of the offensive line is Tua's blind side because he's a left-hander. So I think the Rams defense is going to be very complex. I think it's going to confuse It's going to show lots of different looks. It's going to be welcome to the NFL Tua. Now, he has a lot of weapons on the outside and even some speedy guys there. And he can extend plays and make plays with his feet. But, I just don't see the Rams defense completely melting down against a rookie quarterback playing in his first game. So that's really, to me, the way the Rams lose this game is if their offense does not show up. And this is I don't know, the Rams pissed off in the NFL, but this is their 4th East Coast trip already this season out of 8 games. So, but they're 6-1 under McVay under these East Coast early games, with the only loss coming against the Bills. They are coming off a short week, Monday Night Football, but this is a team that knows what they're doing, and I think Tua will have some flashes. And Pete, you listen to Dolphins fans, and they're like, "Oh, those 2 completions against the Jets at the end of the game," and it's like, okay.
Right. So I got to ask you, what happened to Cam Akers though? Like, it's sad. It's really sad.
Well, we were talking before we went live here, and I think what it is that so Darrell Henderson was the shiny thing last year, but he didn't play, and so everyone just completely forgot about him. And then Cam Akers is the shiny thing this year, but he was injured for a couple games with his rib injury. And that's when Darrell Henderson came in, finally healthy, and showed out like he should have done last year.
Right.
The Rams they're very fortunate. There's a very good problem to have where they have 3 very good running backs. And if one is injured, then they pop the next guy in. So Akers, because of his injury, is kind of the 3rd guy there right now. And unless there's an injury to Malcolm Brown or Darrell Henderson, or one of those guys just completely falls off the cliff with production, I think Cam will be on the outside looking in.
That really sucks, because he was supposed to be the starter. That's what sucks about this. It really sucks.
Yeah. Yes, but I mean, I think the thing is it sucks for fantasy if you have Cam Akers, right?
Yes, and like me.
If you hedged with Darrell Henderson, then you're rocking and rolling. Because if you see Darrell Henderson play, Darrell Henderson's looking great. Right. He's looking like he's looking how he should have looked last year.
Right.
And so as a Rams fan, this is cool because it's like, wow, we have so many good running backs. But for fantasy, I have them both in a couple leagues. And so I'm okay with that. But yeah, that the Rams just have a lot of good players offensively. That's why it's hard to see any one guy consistently being the man, because they can spread it around to anybody.
My prediction on this game, and I want to hear yours, I think it's either going to go one or two ways. One way, like Tua comes out, gets slaughtered, throws a bunch of picks, and it gets out of hand. Like Rams just crush them. Or Tua could surprise, and this is closer than people think. I mean, it's going to go one or two ways. I don't know. I don't know which way it's going to go. I mean, Tua could really show up today. We don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll be closer. I don't think this is going to be like a blowout for the Rams. I do think the Rams could win. The Dolphins could win this game. The Rams have the more talented roster, but I just feel like at what point in time, are there going to be flashes of Tua brilliance, or is this really going to be a welcome to the NFL game? I mean, look at Joe Burrow against the Chargers in week 1. And Justin Herbert did all right when he came in against the Chiefs. But Joe Burrow didn't, they didn't win the game, and that was the Chargers, and that was in Cincinnati.
And Tua's better than these guys on paper. The only reason his ADP dropped in the draft was because of injuries. I think he's on paper probably better than these guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think this will be a very interesting class to see. This could be like the Ben Roethlisberger, Eli, Phillip Rivers draft class with these 3 guys where all of them are good.
They are.
But, it would be one thing if the Dolphins were playing the Jets, sorry, Ian, or if they were playing, a team like a bottom 10 team. But they're not. They're playing – he's going up against one of the better defenses in the NFL. Granted, he had a bye week to prepare. So, I mean – nothing against Tua, but that's just a tough deal. So, but Brian Flores is a smart defensive coach. If the game is tight, Tua does have some of that Russell Wilson-ish magic. If the game is tight, he could pull out some throws and make some plays. But, he's going against Aaron Donald.
Right.
So enjoy.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Well, I appreciate it, man. You guys are the 3.5-point favorite. Trent, as always, man, we'll see you next week.
All right, go Rams.
Thanks a lot. Let's move on here. Let's go to the Chargers and the Broncos. Our Chargers rep is not here. So why doesn't Joe cover it for us? Joe Russ, what's happening, man?
What's going on, Joe? So the main highlights for this Broncos versus Chargers game today, you got the two young quarterbacks in Justin Herbert and Drew Lock. Justin Herbert has been playing way above expectations. He's been arguably the greatest rookie quarterback so far over the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow. And Herbert has just been lighting it up. Meanwhile, Drew Lock has, in his 3 games he's played this year, he looked unimpressive in 2, with those 2 games coming in the last 2 weeks after he came back from his shoulder injury. Against the Patriots, he made quite a few good throws. However, he just couldn't finish drives. And last week against the Chiefs, it was just a miserable performance. It was by far the worst game he's played. However, I would like to think that going forward, it was because of the fact that the Chiefs do have a good defense and the Broncos struggle against them we've lost 10 straight games or 9 or 10 straight games to the Chiefs now. So I'm not really surprised that the Broncos struggled against them. But yeah, that's just going to be the main headline of this game. It's Herbert versus Locke. Which rookie, or I guess Locke isn't a rookie, even though he's only started 8 games in the NFL, but just which young quarterback shows up today.
And I think I'm going to give Herbert the advantage here, and that's why they're a 3-point favorite here. I haven't seen anything out of the Broncos that wows me. That's my concern. So I'm a little disappointed, to be honest with you, with the expectations of Judy. I didn't really have him breaking out this year, having a huge year. But what is the problem here? And I think Patrick was banged up. He should be playing. But what is the issue here? Is it just not getting the ball enough to Judy? Like, why is Judy not really thriving here?
Yeah, the problem with Jerry Jeudy so far this year is not Jerry Jeudy. It's just his quarterbacks. He's played with 3 different quarterbacks, and he's only played 6 games in his career. If you watch the games, if you just keep your eye on Jerry Jeudy, he's coming open almost every single play. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. I honestly don't know why the Broncos aren't forcing the ball to him. But fortunately, I was listening to a few of the press conferences this week, and it sounded like Drew Lock and Pat Shurmur were going to put it in today's game plan to get Jerry Jeudy involved. Because Tim Patrick is a good wide receiver. He's a good downfield threat, but he's not that superstar that Jerry Jeudy has the ability to be.
Yeah, did you hear the same thing as me that I think Drew Lock said, I can play better and I'm going to, or did he not say something along that line?
Oh, yeah, he definitely said something wrong along those lines. Drew Lock, he's one of those guys, he's very responsible. He's accountable. Whenever he messes up, he's accountable for it. He was telling people last week that he needed to play better and that he was going to play better going forward. Because the truth is that the Broncos have not been able to find a good quarterback over the last few years now. We thought it was going to be Drew Lock, and I still think it's going to be Drew Lock. I'm still a believer in him. He's only started 8 games in his career, so he's still growing and developing. However, the truth of the matter is that he's got 10 games left to show whether he's the quarterback of the Broncos going forward. Because if he doesn't show enough in these next 10 games, I've heard that the Broncos are going to be in the sweepstakes for Sam Darnold. And honestly, if Drew Lock isn't playing well enough, I'd probably be in favor of that.
Sam Darnold, really?
Yeah, it was a report came out from an NFL reporter named Benjamin Albright. He said that his inside sources with the Broncos were saying that if Locke doesn't turn out into what they hope he's going to be, then Sam Darnold is the guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if they throw a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick toward the Jets. But that's only if Drew Lock turns out to be a bust, which I don't think will happen.
Well, I don't think so either. He looked really good in college, man. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is another statement game that I will probably be keeping tuned in just to watch these young quarterbacks go at it. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. And then one more thing about this game is that we have a revenge game for Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon last week had a terrible game. He fumbled twice. I've honestly never seen a running back on a flea flicker play throw it over the quarterback's head, and Melvin Gordon did that last week. But this is a revenge game. Melvin Gordon has made it clear that he wants to go out and just beat the Chargers into the ground. Phillip Lindsay's coming off of a concussion. I wouldn't be surprised if Melvin Gordon has a great comeback game today.
He'll need it. He'll need it. He's out getting DUIs, so we got to move on. All right, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. It means a lot. as always. Let's move on to the Bears and the Saints here. So we don't have our Saints rep here today, but let's talk to Faizan. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Joe?
I don't see you covering your face today. There's no paper bag on your face after last game.
I should have one. I've got the Big Cat vibes today. It's just an embarrassing win. I wish it was a win. Embarrassing loss last week to the Rams. And it just talk about, being 5-2 and feeling like you're 2-5 right now. I know a lot of the ambassadors would prefer to have the Bears record, but man, it does not feel good even at 5-2.
No, I mean, what is the issue at this point? It's got to be Nagy, and I think you guys are that fake team. I'm not sold. I think you guys are pretenders, but this is a statement game for sure. They got to win to put their stamp in the ground, stake in the ground, draw the line. We are the Bears. We are 5-2. God damn it, and we're gonna win. That's what this got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah, I agree. So to your first question of what's wrong, it's the offense. And look. What's been the constant for 3 years in this offense? We switched quarterbacks from Mitch to Nick Foles, so you can't say it's the quarterback. You've had player changes. The one constant has been Matt Nagy. So Matt Nagy cannot get this offense going for 3 years now. So if this offense does not step up, it is squarely on his shoulders. Now, I get it. We've had some offensive line problems, but you got to coach around it. That's what you got to do as a coach. And he hasn't done it. And I'm telling you right now, I know people laugh when I talk about hot seat at 5-2. I'm not talking about firing Matt Nagy, but I am talking about him giving up play calling, because those chants are getting louder and louder every single week. And this week, if they don't perform against the Saints and put up a fight, especially offensively, because the only touchdown we had last week was a defensive touchdown. That's pathetic.
Right.
If they don't put up a fight offensively, then I think Matt Nagy is going to be forced to give up play calling.
I don't like the play calling of Nagy. Never liked it from the beginning. But again, their offense isn't like a high octane offense. Like, I don't know how he coaches them. Does he think he's got like Pat Mahomes under center? Like, you're delusional if you think that. Like, he's got Nick Foles, a guy that could just safely move the ball upfield, like almost kind of like Alex Smith, but not even as good as Alex Smith. Like, he's just a safe quarterback at best. So I don't know, man. I mean, they just look mediocre. They can't get anything going with the running game. So I don't know whether it's a lack of the O-line creating holes in the game or just Montgomery being a lackluster running back. It's so anticlimactic when I watch the Bears. So I'm not looking for big plays. I'm not looking for big runs. I'm not looking for big anything. So what is that more just the players? Is it the O-line? Is it the play calling? It's everything, isn't it?
So I know a lot of us have been picking on Ian, and I don't want to do it. If the Jets weren't in the league, I tell you right now, the Bears have the worst offense in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not
good. They have
good.
the worst offense. And what is it? Look, I think it's a combination, but I don't want to have that as a cop-out answer. I'll say this. Matt Nagy coaches like he has, all-pro players, and he has an all-pro offensive line.
Right.
He tries to just act like, he can drop any play he wants. No, you got to be able to drop the right place for your personnel. So there's no rhythm. There's no plays building off each other. He'll throw the ball 6 times. He'll call 6 passing plays, and then he'll run once. And then he'll use Cordero Patterson. I think Cordero Patterson has blackmail on Matt Nagy because he uses him way too much.
Which is crazy.
I have no idea.
That guy came in the league as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think Nagy's completely delusional. I think he's delusional. So yeah, I'm not excited about this game. I will be watching because there's not much going on at 4:25, except for our next game I might be watching. But yeah, I mean, this one they gotta win.
Yeah,
they gotta win.
Let me give you a quick way of I think how the Bears could possibly win, and then I'll give you my score prediction. So the game plan for the Bears should be very simple. We got bear weather today, very windy in Chicago. I can literally go outside and tell you. So you're not going to be able to move the ball a lot. Drew Brees, the one thing with him that is advantage for the Bears, he's got a noodle arm right now. He can't throw past 10 yards. No Michael Thomas, no Manuel Sanders. So he's going to have none of his weapons. So we're going to see a heavy dose of Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. So the Bears game plan is simple. You got to be able to stop the run game for the Saints. And then offensively, you got to be able to, hopefully just score enough to just squeak by. So this is going to be a low-scoring game. I got the Bears losing 20-13.
All right, Faizan, we appreciate it as usual. We got to move on to the 49ers and Seahawks. What is going on, Nick?
What's going on, Joe?
Appreciate you being here, man. What are some expectations for this game? I mean, it's a divisional game. It's going to be interesting. We got Seahawks 5-1, 4-3 49ers. You guys, you got a lot to prove here today.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much we have a lot to prove. I think it's a whole lot that the Seattle Seahawks got to prove. And that's to be honest with you. Look, I'm been sitting here in the back scene and stuff like that and listening to everybody talk about injuries. Look, the Niners have been one of the most injured teams this year, and they're still a 4-3 team in the best division in football. And that's what it boils down to. They got a top 5 ranked defense going up against a 32nd ranked defense in Seattle, right? Obviously, Seattle has some key pieces out as well with Jamal Adams. Being one of those guys who is questionable, has a 50-50 chance to play along with Chris Carson. Look, the only thing that scares me about this Seattle Seahawks team is Russell Wilson. And he's the person that should worry any NFL football team, right? The biggest thing here the Niners got to do today is, and it's going to sound funny, but don't force the rush on Russell Wilson. Just close the pocket. Contain. Don't take your edges too far upfield. Give him the opportunity to get outside the pocket. And just put that pressure on him. Me and Norb collabed a little bit. The Seahawks are scoring 33.8 points per game. The Niners are only allowing 18 points per game. They have a top 5 ranked defense. And with all the injuries, people continue to forget about that. And that's going to our 4th and 5th. And if you take it down and you take the Miami game out, we're only allowing 15 points per game. So you take that game out. Look, this is a rivalry that is like no other in the NFL right now. 2 NFC West teams battling it out. It's always close games. It's going to come down to the wire with these two guys. But I'd like to hear what Norb has to say as well.
Well, all right, man. We've talked a lot this week, and I think you're wrong on a couple things. First of all, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think you guys are going to be able to keep this game under 20. Russell Wilson's going to get his yards. He's going to get his points. We're also going to give up a heck of a lot as well. We were already last place in defense, and now we lost Shaquille Griffin. So our best corner is gone in an already bad secondary. Jamal Adams, maybe he's a game time decision. So we'll find out if he's coming back, but he's still dealing with that nagging groin. So we're going to give up, I have a feeling, a lot of yards in the passing game again. My hope is that when we backs are against the wall, if we can use the back of the end zone as our thing. That's one thing Seattle's been pretty good at. Is when they're pushed to the red zone, they've actually been pretty good at stopping teams from getting to 7 and stopping them on 4th down and short on certain key situations. So, and I've philosophically, I don't know, man, but if I were you, I'd be watching that Arizona Cardinals tape, because the only team that has been able to stop Russell Wilson when he had to make a play was the Cardinals last week. And he only had to get like 25 yards and we would have won that game. Actually, we did win that game, but then penalty called it back. But to get into field goal range to win it, the way they stopped us was they blitzed. They showed that everybody was coming, and they pulled a whole bunch of guys out, confused confused Russell. And we had all our running backs were injured, and may still be injured. We'll see. But we had a rookie back there trying to pass protect in DJ Dallas, who we'll get to see a lot of today, since he's the potentially only healthy back that we've got. So if I were the 49ers, man, I would send him, because if you give him time, Russell will shred you guys. So I expect, though, that Russell's going to bounce back. He had a terrible game last week with 3 interceptions. He hasn't done that in 3 years, and he's 31-8 coming off of a loss. So, and that's the best comeback record off of a loss in the NFL in the past 50 years. So I think it's going to be good. It's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be close. But we'll see how it all plays out. I don't know. Did we lose Joe here?
No, I'm just listening, because
oh, okay, all right, that's cool. Nick, I don't know, man. That's my thought. What do you have to say about that, man?
Yeah, look, you're 100% right. And what I mean by is, I'm just saying, if we're rushing, our 4 that are rushing, not counting blitzes, the 4 that are rushing have to contain their containments. So they can't go too far upfield. They can't open those B's and C gaps. Allow Russell Wilson. The interior line has to stay focused and stay in their gaps. You're going to get the blitzes. I can guarantee you that Robert Saleh is going to dial up some blitzes this week, whether it's safety blitzes, linebacker blitzes, things like that, watching that Arizona tape. Because, look, there are times where Russell Wilson, to be honest, gets impatient. There are times that he does get impatient. It's not very seldom that, a lot that he does it, but he does get impatient.
the way that, just like you said, the way to beat the Seattle Seahawks is contain Russell Wilson. And that's blitzing, being able to contain your gaps, not allow him to get outside the pocket and force him to throw the football. Take away the deep shot, your underneath stuff. That's where the Niners have excelled right now. The Niners are number 1 or number 2 in the league on giving up the deep pass this year. So this is a true test to them going up against a DK Metcalf, a Tyler Lockett. We did get K'Wan Williams back, who's our number 1 nickel corner. Obviously, Emmanuel Mosley is playing, and then obviously Jason Verrett has been a lockdown corner. So we're getting healthy in those sense. Jaquiski Tartt, our strong safety, is out again. I'm not sure. We did call up Jonathan Cyprien from the practice squad. I'm not sure if he's going to get the start over Marcel Harris because of his coverage skills. He's a ball hawk more than Marcel Harris is. Marcel Harris is really good in the run game. But like you said, you're down running backs. So do you go with Jonathan Cyprien, Marcel Harris, who's better in the run, or Jonathan Cyprien, who's better in the pass coverage? Jimmy Ward does look to be playing again, so our starting safety is back. We're getting healthy at the right time. The bad thing is we lost Deebo Samuel. Tevin Coleman's coming back, Jerick McKinnon, and then obviously Jermichael Hasty is our backfield. And then how much is Brandon Ayuk involved today? I want to see how much Brandon Ayuk is involved with the deep ball as well as the plays that Deebo Samuel would take. Look, biggest thing for us, shut down Russell Wilson. Allow him to – he's going to get his plays, but limit him. You don't shut Russell Wilson down. You limit him. If you can limit Russell Wilson and control the run game, the Niners pulled this game off.
I think the pass rush for you guys is paramount because if Russell has time to throw, he will eat your guys' secondary alive. If you limit his time to be able to do it, then that's going to be obviously the issue for the offense. But you can bet that Russell Wilson's been studying his own tape, going, I'm not going to repeat the same mistakes I did last year, and last week. We're not going to be caught off guard like we were last week. So if they do send blitzes like that, you can imagine, especially knowing that their running back group is limited and injured, that they're going to start using those tight ends. They get a little more creative with their receivers, and so I think for us, I feel like it's the linebackers from the Seattle defensive side. I think the linebackers are going to be key because I'm convinced that the 49ers are still going to want to try to run that ball. And that means it's going to be the front four, but it's going to be really the linebacking crew. Wagner, KJ Wright, Jordan Brooks, who's going to be a huge part of this, the rookie linebacker that we got first round. I think it's on those guys because if we can stop your run game, force Garoppolo to have to throw, and if we can get a lead early, make him relatively one-dimensional, take you guys out of your game plan, then I think Seattle can really start to build on a huge lead.
It's the Metcalf game. I think Metcalf eats this game. It was
Metcalf's got to come back. Yeah, he was quiet last week. I think he won't be so quiet this week.
Yeah.
To top it off, you said a whole lot of ifs in there. I got one if. Limit Russell Wilson. You got to shut down the run game. Get to Jimmy Garoppolo. Shut down get the deep ball going. There's a whole lot of ifs in there, but this should be a fun game as always. Seattle Niners, always a good matchup. Biggest thing I hope for is just everybody comes out injury free because I'm tired of injuries in the NFL this year, but it should be a good game. It should be a fun game. I'm going to still take the Niners 27-23 in a coming down to the end of the wire. Niners win 27-23.
How about you, Norb?
I got the same differential, but I got the Seahawks 30-26.
Let's put it this way, guys. I'm going to be calling you guys and texting you with my beer and popcorn because it's the last game I'll be watching for today because I definitely will not be watching Dallas and Philly at 8 o'clock tonight. That's for sure. This is the game. This is the end of the day.
It'll be a fun one, man. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Norb. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, guys. Go Niners, go Hawks. All right, let's move on to the final matchup, the Dallas Cowboys. Where are you? Do we need to even talk about this one?
No. Not really, Joe. I don't know if the Cowboys have a groundhog that didn't see a shadow or what, but for Cowboys fans, spring break and the spring is coming early.
Yeah,
season's over, so I got my sunglasses too. I live at the beach. It's basically spring. I'm done with 2020.
Time to move on.
If I'm being honest here, Joe, I feel okay about the Cowboys cutting some dead weight. Everson Griffin being traded, cutting Dontari Poe and Darryl Worley. But, man, the Eagles are just getting a lot of guys back from injury this week. Lane Johnson, a right tackle. Jason Peters, a left tackle. Jalen Reagor, a wide receiver. So Carson Wentz is finally going to get some help, and I don't feel great about it.
What about you, Jordan?
Ryan, my guy, I'm disagreeing with you. Cowboys Nation, we are not going on vacation right now. We are getting ready to go to war.
Wow.
We are going to war.
Sparta!
And here's the thing, Sparta, 300. Now, we're outnumbered, and Joe, I heard you talking earlier about who is this Ben Cucci guy.
Yeah.
It's Nucci Main. That's his name. And after tonight, the whole world will put some respect on Ben Nucci's name. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys will go into Lincoln Financial, and they will compete, and they will win this ball game. The reasons why, I'll tell you, we're getting healthier on the defensive side of the ball. Now, a lot of people around the NFL has been questioning our toughness. We saw what happened last week, and our team didn't fight. We get our guy Zach Martin back. Sean Lee's possibly going to be playing tonight. We're going to get Cheeto Awuzie. So we're starting to get healthy on the defensive side of the ball. So if we're able to protect Ben DiNucci, I feel like we can actually make a staple in this game and make a statement. This is a key game for Mike McCarthy and his staff. And I feel like this guy back here, Ezekiel Elliott, is coming to eat. And we all know when you have these rivalry games, when you play against people you just don't like, you tend to have that fire lit up under you. So I'm calling the Cowboys to win tonight. 24-21.
Wow.
We win on Sunday Night Football, and Joe, you're going to be watching with the rest of the world. Let's go, Cowboys.
Hey, listen.
Absolutely not. The Eagles are going to win this game.
Zach, hold on, Zach. Let me interrupt. 10.5 point. You guys are 10.5 point favorite. Continue. Sorry.
All right. Zeke has 4 fumbles this year already. Only 5 touchdowns. You're on your third string quarterback. Your defense is horrible. The Eagles, you missed one name there, Ryan. Dallas Goedert's coming back today. That is huge for Carson Wentz there. Dallas Goedert, he's an amazing tight end. And without Ertz, Dallas Goedert's going to absolutely eat. And I think with you said their tackles are coming back. That's big for them. They are missing Sanders this week, which is, but they can make up for that with Carson Wentz going to be throwing. Carson Wentz, I know Joe absolutely hates Carson Wentz, but he's better than Ben DiNucci, right?
Well, the
you
thing
have
is,
to admit that.
What I hate is that he's got $128 million and he's done nothing. I mean, you might as well pay Ben DiNucci $128 million because that's what you basically did with Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
Agreed.
But he's better than Ben DiNucci, and he's going to win.
We don't know that. We actually don't know that. We don't know that.
You hope he's better
he
than
is.
DiNucci.
You will see that tonight. Carson Wentz will make plays. Ben DiNucci will throw interceptions. Eagles win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Wow. But he's got the Spartan. He's Gerard Butler we got on the show
Going
today.
to war. We're going to war with Philly, man. We're not backing down. I feel like tonight the Dallas Cowboys will show some fight, and you'll see a different team. Next weekend, not so much.
I don't think the players want to play for Mike McCarthy anymore. I think the players are at this point where they're like, you mean if we don't give it our all, Mike McCarthy's gone next year? Next year, the Cowboys, when they get Dak back, if they extend him,
Yeah, I feel like, well, that's another conversation about Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy should be gone. But I feel like tonight you will see a different Dallas Cowboys team, and they're going to step up. They're going to play with some passion and some fire. Like I said, we got a lot of our leaders back. Our bigger struggle has been on the defensive side of the ball, but with Sean Lee coming back, that cures a lot. That's like having another head coach out there. And like I said, guys, I see the Dallas Cowboys is playing differently tonight, and they're going to put up a fight. Granted, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I believe we absolutely can win this game against Philadelphia. Because here's the thing. We mentioned all the issues that the Cowboys have, but it's only one tie game against the Bengals is the only reason why the Philadelphia Eagles are leading the division right now. So let's not act like they're so much a better team. We're not playing against the Seahawks or Green Bay. We're playing against the same Philadelphia Eagles who have so many different issues. Why they still have their quarterback. We know what the issue is with Dallas. Dak Prescott's hurt. You guys have your quarterback in Carson Wentz, and you're still not playing at a high level. So I feel like right now with the Dallas Cowboys and the talent that we do have, we still have our wide receiver core. Expect to get big game from Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and also Michael Gallup. Let's go, Cowboys.
Yeah, if the Cowboys are going to have a good game, it's got to be this one. That's 100% true. If Mike McCarthy's going to rally this team, it's got to be tonight. If it's not tonight, it's over done for him in Dallas, in my opinion.
Then I go on vacation with Ryan.
Yeah, there you go.
Where's Ryan?
It's going to be a huge game for Dallas, for sure, no matter which way it goes.
Can we get one more look at Ryan there in his vacation suit there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't want to rain on Jordan's parade, so I'm not going to give a prediction or a final score. But I will say this, Joe. I do think the team has quit on Mike McCarthy, and I've never seen a team quit on a coach and then play hard for them after. So I just don't see it happening until it does happen, and we prove otherwise.
It's funny. We got two contrasts here. We got Ferris Bueller's Day Off with you, and we've got 300 with Jordan. I don't know what to think now.
Going to war. Cowboys win tonight.
All right, we got to move on to the final matchup here because we're over time. Liam Mitchell, where are you? Liam here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Monday night game, man. Break it down for us.
Blowout.
Blowout.
I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be close. I know that sometimes there's such thing as trap games, but I think this is the best team in the NFC versus the worst team in the NFC. Daniel Jones turns the ball over like no tomorrow. The Bucs have held opponents to less than 100 rushing yards in I think 13 straight games. Even without Chris Godwin, I just think the Giants are completely outmatched across the board. I could honestly confidently say the Bucs are probably better at every single position on the field.
So there's really no chance for the Giants this week.
I don't think. I mean, I think it's somewhat similar to the AFC's version of Chiefs Jets. This is one of the most confident I've ever been in my 20 years as a Buccaneers fan. I'm going to put some money down on this game. I don't think that the Giants have a chance.
All right. I mean, Antonio Brown next week, right? He's coming back, and do you think he's going to be integrated a lot?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be pushed in, and he's gonna get some balls right away. He's gonna get some targets. So next week, Sunday Night Football against the Saints. You know, I'm excited. I'm excited to see this offense go to work.
Yeah,
he'll get his targets.
I'm working on getting Chris Gronkowski, Gronk's brother, on my show this upcoming week. I'll have to send you the link once he comes on.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I think I've seen him on TikTok a little bit.
Yeah, he was on Shark Tank too, so we'll have to get him on. But yeah, I think it's going to be the Gronk show, the Brady show, the everybody show, the Ronald Jones show. I don't see the Giants competing here at all.
Exactly. I don't think there's a chance.
Which is a shame because I like to watch interesting Monday Nighters, and we're just not going to get that here.
Yeah, we're not going to get it at all. I think it's going to be a blowout from the start. Yeah, there's really no other word for me to say other than blowout. I mean, it's.
And one last thing I want to ask you here, because I know you've waited a long time because you're the last one here. But I got to ask you, power rankings. Where would you rank the Buccaneers? Would you say that? I mean, they're going to win this game, which puts them at 6-2. Power rankings stand. I got them like 3 right now, 3 to 4. I think I'm a conspiracy guy, and I think Brady is set for a Super Bowl before he retires. And I think it might be this year, might be the year after. I have them about 3 to 4. Where do you have an unbiased? Do you think they're arguably the top 3 best team in the league right now?
Unbiased opinion. After what I've seen over the past 2 weeks, I genuinely believe the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL.
So number 1 right now.
Number 1. I completely think a third or fourth ranking is fair. Obviously, Baltimore, Kansas City, some of these teams have a lot of firepower, but across the board, offense, defense, this offensive line is playing better in Tampa. The Bucs defense has been playing. They're number 1 in the NFL right now. Tom Brady's leadership. I mean, just everything. Bruce Arians, 2-time coach of the year. All the pieces are being put into place. Obviously, Antonio Brown's a knucklehead off the field. The guy's still extremely talented. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, there's so much talent on this team. On their best day, they're the best team in the NFL. They've blown out. They have the number 1 point differential in the NFL right now. I think it's like a plus 80. I can't. We got Kansas City coming up here in a few weeks, and that'll be a real test for who's the best team in the league. But as of right now, Bucs number 1.
Definitely. Well, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it as usual, Liam. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And let's go Bucs. So let's go. All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you being here. That's Fan to Fan Virtual Tailgate. All top ambassadors from every YouTube channel. Make sure you follow fantofannetwork.com. We appreciate you and thank you. Enjoy the games. NFL Week 8. We're out.